Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as I said moments ago, we will be having a test on the day of Fry. And that test will be over adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions. So I'm going to go over these three problems today. I'll do problems in each class period. And I'll do problems in each class period every day, Monday through Thursday. So if you care to study for the test on Friday, you'll have all of these videos to come back on. Let's start first with the multiplication video. I'm going to do it on a number line, and we'll look at it number line wise. We have 2/3 times 6. 2/3 times 6. Now in a number line, I can do my tally marks in between my whole numbers any way I want. I mean, I could divide it into tenths. I could divide it into fifths. I could do it any way I want. It's my number line. I could divide it into hundreds if I wanted each line to equal 1/100th. But what I want to do is make the problem easier for myself on a number line. And since I'm going to be counting by 2/3, I want to change it so I'm numbering the problems, or numbering my number line into thirds. So we start with 0. We have 1/3, 2/3. So that's 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3 would be 1. Then we would have 1 1/3, 1 2/3, and then 1 3/3 would be 2. And I would go through and do this all the way as long as I needed to. I don't know what the answer is. Now I'm going to always start at 0. I'm always going to start at 0, and then I'm going to do jumps of 2/3 every time. It's like if I built a number line on the floor and I said 2/3 times 6, you'd be jumping to 2/3 and then count and jump 2 more thirds. And that's what we're going to be doing on a number line, much like this. So we start at 0 and I jump to 2/3. So that's one jump. I got to jump 6 times. And then I jump 2/3 more, which gets me to 1 1/3. That's 2 jumps. I got 4 more. So I jump again. That's 3 jumps. And I jumped 2/3 every time. I go again. And that's 4 jumps. And that's 5 jumps. And that's 6 jumps. And where did I end up on all my jumps? 4. Now I could check it with repeated addition. 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus 2/3 plus 2/3. And then I'm going to get 12/3, which we can't leave that way. So we figure out how many thirds go into 12, and that would be 4. I could do a picture and divide this into thirds, and I'd color in 1, and I would do this 6 times. I'm not going to, because you guys don't need to see me color 6 times. But I could do this 6 times, and that would be another way to check my work. You may see it any of those 3 ways on a test. Okay, you probably won't see the standard algorithm. We could also do it where I have 3 groups and a total of 6. So here's my 3 groups. And I need a total of 6 divided into it. So that's 6 wholes, my whole number, divided into 3 different groups. I want to know how many are in 2 groups because that's my numerator. And I get 4 there as well. So there are 4 different ways you may see a multiplication of a fraction in a whole number. And again, for the test on the day of Fry, go back and watch these, and they may be helpful for you. All right, adding and subtracting fractions. Well, adding, we're going to start with, and we have 3/4 plus 5/6. Carter, can we add those fractions like they are? Why not, Carter?
Because they're not equal.
They do not have a common denominator. Carter, you have any idea what our common denominator might be?
12.
12 is correct. And again, I could figure that out. My multiples of each denominator, and the first one they have in common is 12. That is my least common denominator. I mean, they also have 24 in common. They also have 36 in common. They also have 48 in common. But it's easier if I can pick the smallest one they have in common, because so that's going to leave me with less simplifying. Now I need to make equivalent fractions without changing the value. They both have to have a denominator of 12, which means my answer is going to have a denominator of 12 as well. Carter, what did I multiply by 4 to get 12?
3.
If I multiply my denominator by 3, I must multiply my numerator by 3. And multiplying fractions, we multiply straight across. So, Carter, 3 times 3 is?
9.
9. Thank you. Hilary, what did I multiply by 6 to get 12? Then I can always check up here. 6 times 1, 6 times... What's after 6 times 1? Good. 6 times 2. If I multiply my denominator by 2, I must also multiply my numerator by 2. And I get 10 twelfths. So I have 9 twelfths plus 10 twelfths. And I need to make sure I know my sign. This is an addition problem. 9 twelfths plus 10 twelfths is what, Brinley?
19.
19 twelfths. 19 twelfths. Excuse me. Brinley, what kind of fraction is that? Improper fraction. Which means I can't leave it like that. So how many groups of 12 will there be in 19, Brinley?
1.
1. Because if I went to 2 groups, it'd be 24. So that's too big. And I'm still going to leave my denominator as 12. And how many are left over after we do that, Brinley?
7.
7. 1 and 7 twelfths. We have to simplify on a problem. 1 times 7, 12 would be 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And I would see that the least, or the greatest common factor is 1. If my greatest common factor is 1, then that, God bless you, that fraction is already in simplest terms. Let's look at the subtraction, which really is the exact same way as you do addition. You just subtract instead of add. So we have 9 tenths minus 2 thirds. The problems are written like that, but I find it easier to find the common denominator when they are written vertically as opposed to horizontally. Oh, let's go, Sumeda. Can I add those like they are?
No.
Why not?
Because they don't have the same denominator.
They do not have the same denominator. So I need to find an equivalent denominator. Now, Travis, I can go through and I can go 10, 20, 30. I can go 3, 6, 9. What would be the first one they'd have in common, Travis?
30.
30 would be the first one they'd have in common. Because they don't have 20 in common. So then I would just have to see if 3 goes into 30. And it does. 3 times 10. So Travis, what did I multiply by 10 to get 30?
30.
3. If I multiply my denominator by 3, I must also multiply my numerator by 3. And Travis, what do I get?
27.
27. Thank you. Brianna, what did I multiply by 3 to get?
10.
10. I should put the denominator down, huh? And then my answer, my denominator is going to be 30 unless I have to simplify. So if I multiply my denominator by 10, I must also multiply my numerator by 10. Brianna, what is my new numerator?
20.
20. That's a 7. 20. And Eli, what is 27 30ths minus, because it's a subtraction problem, 20 30ths. 7 30ths. And I could check that by listing all the factors. See, if you don't erase your work, we already did the factors for the factors for 7. I wouldn't have to redo it. And then I could do it for 30. But I would find the greatest common factor is indeed the number of 1. Boom! Shakalaka, peace out. God bless. Love you. Do something kind today. Save the bees. Bring your teacher, Dr. Pepper. Layla brought me Dr. Pepper today, and I think she's awesome. Subscribe, please.